Yo, what's going on everybody? Back in the shop working on the LS today. If you saw yesterday's video, we got a little bit of progress done on the rear quarter panel and the side skirts. Today's video is just going to be kind of more of the same. I'm going to be working on the front end a little bit more, working on the skirts some more. Probably going to start doing some of the bodywork stuff to the back part of the skirts, and believe my buddy Eric is coming over here to give me a hand with trying to get the rear knuckles off of the car, because I need to make sure that I take those to my work next week and get bearings put into them, just because this thing needs to get back down on the ground like kind of ASAP and moving around. So yeah, let's get into some shit. Obviously ended off yesterday's video with showing you this. Got some white primer on there so we could kind of see what it looked like. And dude, this is so OEM plus, it is fantastic. Now the primer's not very good primer, so it's a little bit kind of blotchy and doesn't accurately show how good everything looks, but I'm very happy with it. I still need to do some work down here to get all of that perfect. All of this for the most part is pretty fucking close to where it needs to be. Which is great news, because it means that I don't really have to worry about this too much more. So I'm really stoked on that. The one thing that I do need to work on though is this right here. This body line, I had added this back in, but unfortunately I may have sanded a little bit too much on this side, and it kind of, I don't know why you can see it, it like from here where it starts to fade out, it actually tapers down a little bit too much. So I don't want it to do that. I am basically going to have to go back in and recreate that line again, and just kind of make sure that it doesn't do that. But for the most part, pretty content with where shit's at with that. I also noticed that that is a little bit too built up on that top part right there, but that's fine. Go back in and do that. But yeah, the front, obviously I put this layer on here yesterday and actually hadn't sanded anything yet, so I am going to go ahead and address this, and hopefully we can get this pretty much like where I want it and then leave that alone. And I'll do the same thing. I'll spray white primer on this and we'll see what it looks like all together. Just did a little work to this. I think I have it pretty decent, although the line is right here and it looks like this may be a little bit lower than it needs to be, which is unfortunate, but hopefully it looks okay. Let's spray some primer on it and see what it looks like. Okay, so it actually looks better than I was expecting. The line is definitely there. It does come a little bit lower than it needs to there, and it also comes in a little bit too far here. But it's pretty defined right now, so it definitely needs to be softened out somewhat. But it doesn't look too bad. Take a step back and kind of look at it. I have this part of the skirt sanded beautifully. This is ridiculous how fucking smooth this is. Oops, slight imperfection right there, I need to get that, but yeah, this is really nice. It's fucking stupidly smooth. Okay, got this sanded, most of the way prepped. Let me tell you, the panel bond, getting the excess off of here was fucking ridiculously difficult. But what I'm gonna do is take the grinder and just open up this gap a little bit and do like I did on the other end, just bevel the edges, and then I'm going to use kitty hair or Bondo glass, whatever, to fill in those creases and then finish it off with some glaze. But before I do that, I want to test fit on the car and make sure that everything fits before I commit. Bad news, we are running into a slight fitment issue, which isn't ideal, but hopefully it's not too late, I can fix it. This corner does not want to fit up in there. Try pulling the skirt this way a little bit, but it will not budge from that end. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with this, but obviously I can't just like stretch it and make it fit, because it's going to start fucking cracking this and just making a mess of it. So what I may do is cut through this side of this, so that I can kind of angle it a little bit more that way, and then fiberglass the back of it again, I guess, because like, as much as I don't want to go like back on myself and fucking redo it, I need to do that now before later. All right, some hours have passed. I didn't film anything. My buddy Eric came over here and helped me get the rear knuckles off, which, to be honest with you, that was not a one-person job, regardless of the spacer being stuck on there. It took an hour and a half to get that spacer off for one, and then getting the axles out was just ridiculously tough, so it had to be two people to do that. Those are off. I'm going to take them into work this week, hopefully, if we have time. Going to put new wheel bearings in them, and then I'm probably going to replace the bushings that are on there just while they're out. So that'll get taken care of, and it means that the car can get back down on the ground and moving soon. But anyways, back to the skirts. So I mocked them up on the car. Obviously, it didn't fit the way that I wanted it to, and so what I did was cut back out the fiberglass section in the middle. And after I did that and mocked it back up, I actually realized that I didn't need to cut it. So I'm a little bit frustrated at that, but the reason that it wasn't fitting right was because there's so much fiberglass built up on the inside on top of where I had done the panel bond and reinforcement and then fiberglass on top. So it was so thick that it wasn't able to fit around like the body right there. That's why it didn't fit the way I wanted it to. So now I have re-fiberglassed it back in the same place that it was in pretty much. And it's even thicker now, which is ridiculous. So what I did was make sure that everything dried up and it's solid, opened up the seam in the front, and now I've used the Bondo glass in the front as well. Well, I did panel bond first, Bondo glass, and then hopefully if I can get the front to be stiff enough and secure enough, I'm gonna cut back some of the fiberglass that's on the back so it thins it up a little bit. Make sure that everything is still solid, and then hopefully get it mocked up on the car and in place, and then we can do some body work. Yeah, this is what it's looking like right now. Just Bondo glass on there. Looks real ugly, but it'll dry up in a second, and we can cut back some of the fiberglass on the back. Fantastic news. We are in way better shape than we were. It is lining up really well now. It's looking pretty decent. The only difficult thing is this chrome trim piece has this like hole that it lines up with. I'm gonna replace the trim anyway, so it's not gonna have that like weird gap. But yeah, everything is pretty much where I want it to be. Like that's decently lined up with that. The angle's slightly off, like it ideally needs to be like that, but it's not too big of a concern. I think the majority of that is just that I need to clear a little bit more behind that. I'm pretty happy with that. And like my favorite angle of these skirts is like right here where you kind of see it just like lead up into the flare. Looks like it bulges out a little bit more than it should right now. Hopefully when I actually get it all said and done, I can get it to sit a little bit more flat. Plus the bodywork is going to help with that a little bit. It kind of looks like it bows out in the middle somewhat right now, which I think it actually does. I probably should have had it more so like that, but it is what it is. It's done now. Just put a layer of filler on here. Gonna wait for that to dry, and then we'll sand it, and hopefully we can get everything kind of in the shape that it needs to be. Layer of Bondo. Got everything kind of squared away. I have come to the conclusion that I'm gonna redo this. It's a bummer, but it is not the way that I want it to be, and so I'm gonna have to cut this apart and do it again. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. I think I'm gonna go buy probably another piece if I can. I'll go find another one of these like plastic pieces and redo it, but let me show you. Okay, I don't know how well you can see or I can show this on camera, and I'm not talking about this. That really doesn't matter. I can shape that however I want. I am referring to this. So you can kind of see it goes straight and then almost goes like that. I'm not very happy with that. That is not the way that I want that to look. I would like it to follow this line more consistently, and I think that's why it was bulging out as much as it was. So yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is end up chopping this off and starting over, which is a pain because I'm going to have to cut a whole bunch of like fiberglass out, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to reuse this just because of how much fucking fiberglass and whatever is in there. It's going to be really hard to get that out. So yeah, I'm not content with where that's at, and I don't think the bodywork's going to fix it the way I want it to. This is just going to bulge way too much. So yeah, you live and you learn. I'm not really upset about it. Like, of course, it's a little bit frustrating and it's going to slow down the process, but it's totally fine. And it'll also make sure that whenever I do the other side, I make sure that I don't make the same mistake. And I want this to be right. I want this to look the way that I imagine it, and I'm not going to like cut corners for the sake of laziness. So I'm going to chop that out, but I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to end off this video by putting these on the car, taking a look at it, showing you what I'm talking about with this. I'm going to take a couple of pictures of it so that, you know, I can see it and I can share it on Instagram. But yeah, I am going to come back to this and end up cutting that out, which it's a shame, but it's okay. Every time I put it on, it seems to fit slightly differently. This doesn't want to line back up with that edge, blah, blah, blah. But the main thing that I'm talking about and I'm concerned about is just this. So this cladding piece should follow the exact same line as this. It comes down to here, and here's where the body line is, and it slopes underneath. This one, however, at that point will keep going straight. But this part of it, before the seam, needs to follow this same line. And as you can see, it does not. And it has obviously that weird body. I'm not happy with that. And obviously this doesn't fit the way it should, but you know, a little bit of finagling, you can get it to fit better, but that isn't going to go away, and it's especially not going to go away with some bodywork. So yes, I am going to cut it open and start over. It is what it is. I'm not mad about it. We made some good progress today. I really just wanted to get those knuckles off so that I can take care of getting that stuff sorted. And if the skirts aren't finished by the time that I put the car on the ground, that's not the end of the world. I can work on those whenever. So it's not the immediate priority. I do want to make sure that this car is able to, you know, run and drive before I worry about kind of the skirts and the bumpers. But yeah, I'm still happy with the progress made today. I'm still learning so much about fiberglass and bodywork stuff as I go, and it's been really fun and actually really rewarding. So I'm enjoying the process, even though it stresses me out and it takes forever and it's tiring and is what it is. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. We will be back probably soon. In 2 weeks from when I'm filming this is when I'm hoping I'll be back over here and able to put the knuckles back on the car. And hopefully when I do that, we can just try and get the car on the ground at the same time, because that would be fantastic if we can go ahead and like get the car back on the ground and not get it out of the garage right away, just make sure everything's good with it. But that's what I'm aiming for. I need to have this car out of this shop and moving around as soon as I can. But I still have to do all the body work on the other side, and I don't know when I'm going to get time to do that. Right now we are doing so much stuff with work leading up to our grand opening, and once we open I'm going to have so much content stuff that I'm going to have to do. Finding the time to come here and do that body work and do any of the stuff that needs to be done is really difficult right now. And I know, like, don't rush anything, blah, 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 like, take your time. Absolutely, that's what I have been doing. But unfortunately now, it has to get done. I have to move. I cannot, like, move to Chattanooga, take this thing there as, you know, the piece of shit that it is, have nowhere to put it, nowhere to work on it, deal with the expense of taking it there, and then have to deal with the expense of taking it all the way back to Louisville to get it painted. Just totally unnecessary. So I'm going to get it as good as I can get it, drop it off in Louisville before I move, and not really worry about it until it's finished. It's a little bit of a time crunch. From now I have like maybe a month, but I'm going to try and see if I can push the move back a couple of weeks so I can finish any kind of last minute stuff up on this and have it good to go. So yeah, it's very important that I get it on the ground soon. and moving. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't been to the website and copped some of the merchandise, please do. It goes a long way to helping support me grow the brand and, you know, fund some of the stuff with this and hopefully more projects in the future. But yeah, I appreciate you guys' support. We'll see you in another video.